All right, good morning, sunshine. All right. Let me begin by introducing myself. I am Mohammed Nuru, the Director of San Francisco Public Works, and I want to welcome you. We're here today to celebrate our urban forest and the many benefits that trees bring to the environment. Volunteers joined city workers in the Tenderloin and the south of Market this morning to plant 80 trees. Among those trees were the London plane tree, London, yes, Brisbane box, and Myrtle Woods. And today we'll all have an opportunity to do a little planting later also. Today we're also expanding our urban forest. As thousands of delegates are coming to town for the upcoming Global Climate Action Summit, our mayor, London Breed, has made environmental stewardship a cornerstone of her administration and is making sure that San Francisco continues to lead the fight against global warming. Let's give her a hand for her leadership. We're honored to have her here with us this morning, and without further ado, let's welcome our mayor, London Breed.
Thank you all for being here today. You know, Randy Shaw just asked me, why am I in the Tenderloin almost every day? I was here cleaning up on Saturday. I continue to do walks in this neighborhood, and I make phone calls to many of the city officials because we know that there are a lot of challenges, not just in our city, but especially in this community. This community needs a lot of love, and we have to continue to provide the support, bring the attention here, and support many of the residents here. I am committed as mayor to doing that. Thank you, Mohammed, for choosing this location. This week is the Global Action Climate Summit, which is taking place right here in San Francisco. People from all over the world, not just the United States, will be here in San Francisco to talk about ways in which we can improve our environment. San Francisco can't do it alone. We need partners all over the world to take real actions. And here in San Francisco, we have been a leader in environmental change. I am proud that San Francisco is joining with other cities, state, and regional governments to promote and commit to policies to protect our environment. Locally, we are confronting climate change on several fronts, from embracing green building practices to leading the nation in zero waste efforts to working to meet our 100% energy goals through Clean Power SF. And if you haven't joined already, please join and become a super green power member. Another way we support our environment is supporting a thriving urban forest. Trees combat climate change by removing carbon dioxide from the air, storing carbon and releasing oxygen into the atmosphere. They also improve air quality. We will show how, with data here in a little bit, that thanks to the tree benefits calculator, which I just heard of, data that clearly shows these trees are key in helping to save our environment. Planting more trees not only improves the environment, it also makes our neighborhood greener and more beautiful. Every neighborhood in San Francisco should have a thriving urban forest, and the city is committed to working with our nonprofit partners, like Friends of the Urban Forest, to plant trees throughout our city. Earlier this morning, as Mohammed Nuru said, we planted over 80 trees in the Tenderloin and South of Market neighborhoods. These trees join over 250,000 trees, not only in our city, but also in our parks. In 2016, San Francisco voters passed the Street Tree SF initiative, which sets aside $19 million a year to maintain and care for our street trees and we just didn't pass it at the ballot. The ballot measure got nearly 80% of the vote, and the person who led that effort is right here with us today, State Senator Scott Weiner. The overwhelming support for this measure shows our community's desire to take care of the trees we have, as well as plant new ones. Growing our urban forests will help us meet two goals of the Global Climate Action Summit: creating sustainable communities and promoting transformative climate investments. The summit is a great catalyst for real action to make a difference in protecting our earth, and I hope you can join us at any of the many events that are going to be taking place all week throughout our city. Thank you all so much for being here today. And now at this time, I want to introduce Senator Scott Weiner, who, again, as I said, authored the bill that helped provided the $19 million to help take care of our trees when he was a member of the Board of Supervisors. He's been a leader here in San Francisco and is now a leader in Sacramento, pushing forth record numbers of legislation that will help San Francisco become a better place, and especially for our planet. Ladies and gentlemen, State Senator Scott Weiner.
Thank you, Mayor Breed, and I really want to just say how proud I am to be a San Franciscan for many, many reasons, but having a mayor who deeply, deeply gets it when it comes to climate makes me very proud. So thank you, Mayor Breed, for all of your incredible work. I also want to welcome to San Francisco and to the Tenderloin my colleague, Assemblymember Eduardo Garcia from the Coachella Valley, Imperial Valley area, who last year authored our marquee climate bill. He's a real leader on climate. You know, one of the real honors of serving in the legislature is, in addition to representing this great community, you work with people from all over the state, and you have to try to learn and understand the needs of different communities that are very, very different than your own. But one thing that is for sure is that when it comes to climate, when it comes to the problems that climate change is causing, we're all in this together, and it might manifest in slightly different ways in different parts of the state, but it's affecting all of us, and we all have to pull together, understand each other's needs, and make sure that we are addressing this existential threat. And so the conference is happening here in San Francisco, but this is about all of California and, frankly, the entire world, about whether we're going to stop strangling this planet and keep it alive and healthy and vibrant for our kids and our grandkids and our great-grandkids, and whether we're going to really have that forward-looking approach to plan for the future and make sure people can live here. I also want to say that I want to join in my gratitude that this is happening in the Tenderloin. Although I did not represent the Tenderloin on the Board of Supervisors, I always made sure to know what the challenges were in this neighborhood, and they are many. The Tenderloin and South of Market as well, there's not enough open space. A lot of kids, but not a lot of open space. Not nearly enough trees. Streets that are not very safe. Too many people being injured and killed on the streets of Tenderloin, South of Market, and I know we have all been working very hard to have new great open spaces, new parks, more trees, traffic calming, so that we understand that the neighborhoods are not just about the cars that go through, but the people who live here and the children who are here every day. And so I want to thank Public Works and Rec and Park, the amazing Friends of the Urban Forest, for all of us working together to make sure that the Tenderloin and other neighborhoods are clean, green, healthy, and livable for everyone. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. As you have heard, trees net incredible environmental benefits. One way we've been able to qualify this is with the Tree Benefits Calculator. I'm going to ask Erica Teach, a natural resource specialist with Davy Tree Company, their think tank section, and also with the USDA Forest Service to come up and demonstrate how this tree benefits calculator work. Where's Erica? Come on up.
Thank you. All right, so iTree is a software suite that was developed by the U.S. Forest Service. It came out in 2006, so it's been around for quite a while. We have several different tools within the suite, some very entry-level tools and some that are more comprehensive. But the point of them is to assess the urban forest and then to tell the benefits about them so that we can use it for advocacy and management purposes. So if you guys want to play along, you can get your mobile devices out. You need to use either Chrome or Firefox. And Madam Mayor, I was told that you might want to play along with us.
Okay.
So we can turn this on. And I have it set up. I'm going to go back. This is iTree planting. So if you want to Google iTree planting and then hit on start a project, and you're going to get to the location tab, and then we want to just put in our location. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So she's filling out the different drop-down menus. We do it by state and then county level, city level.
Bam. Next.
Perfect, yes. You can scroll through to the next button, and then what you've got on the next page is the project parameters. Those are the basic ones. They're already filled in for us. You can change them if you want to. We're going to keep them as they are right now. And then we've got where we can fill in the tree. So do you want to pick one of the trees that was planted, sycamore or Brisbane box? I think Brisbane box is London plane. Sorry. London plane. Yes.
Let's see where that London tree is. Oh, so many trees.
Yeah, there's quite a big list there.
Where's the? I'm not on the list.
See. Oh, you are not on this list for San Francisco. Yeah, let's see if sycamore is on there. I did look up the box trees. Those are both in this drop-down menu. If a tree is not on here that you want to use, then you'll want to pick a similar species in size, structure, and whether or not it's deciduous.
Oh, we skipped sycamore right here.
There we
Sycamore.
go. It's on there.
All right.
We'll pretend it says London plane.
All right.
Okay.
But it's not a similar species.
It's very similar.
Oh,
Yeah,
it is?
It's very
Okay.
similar. So now you can put in whether or not it's close to the building, and this will give us energy benefits that are saved, or in some cases, depending on the location of the tree, it can be a detriment to the building if it's a evergreen tree that's blocking sun in the wintertime, anyway, that can be a detriment to your energy savings. So we'll go ahead and keep, let's see, built after 1980. I doubt that building over here is built out, but we'll keep that in there unless you want to change it.
Yeah.
And then probably does not have heat and AC, probably just has heat. And let's say the tree is in excellent condition and it's probably in part sun would be my guess. So you can use that drop down because probably with all the buildings around here, any tree that's planted is going to get part sun. And then that is the end of that tab where you're on the trees tab, and then you hit next and we get all of the outputs.
Wow.
So then you can see here, you've got your summary of what we put in. We've estimated for 40 years what the benefits are going to be. And then you can, here we go, we're talking about carbon. So this tree in 40 years, it was, I think we originally put in it was 1 inch. So in 40 years, this tree would grow and give us CO2 avoided would be 595 pounds. And then we've got, yeah, really huge. And then the sequestration is 1,720 pounds carbon sequestered in that. So the avoided is what is avoided from energy output. You don't have to heat that building. So the power plant is not putting out those emissions. The tree is doing the work for it. Yeah, and then there's other, you can scroll across the top here and then you can do the outputs. You can do the air pollution, you can do rainfall interception, what's the tree biomass, stormwater manage. So there's lots of other benefits that come along out of this tool.
Nice.
Thank you for playing along.
Of course. Now I know how to use it.
Yes, yes.
Okay, it's important that we know how to use the tree benefit calculator because we're able to know how much carbon offset we have. But most importantly, that carbon offset turns into cash, and that cash allows us to buy more trees and continue to grow our tree canopy, which San Francisco is desperately in need of growing our tree canopy so that we can be compared to other cities. But we are the best city, so we're going to get there, and this tree calculator is going to make that happen, right? So thank you, Erica. Thank you for all that. Next, we're going to hear from Mark Ferson. Mark is the Executive Director of City Forest Credits. It's an organization which helps companies reduce their carbon footprint by funding tree planting initiatives in the fight against global warming. Please, let's hear from Mark. Come on up.
I'm behind you. Thank you very much. Well, there's one group that's not here that we want to be here, and that's the corporate citizens of San Francisco.
They are here.
They are here. Great.
I'll speak to that.
Okay. Thank you very much for those of you who are here. Because public funding is stretched to the max, we need to find a way to bring in some of our corporate residents and corporate citizens to help us keep San Francisco healthy, green, and equitable. My organization is a nonprofit in Seattle. We are working to make it possible for local projects to earn Carbon Plus credits. We have quantified the carbon, the stormwater reductions, the energy savings, the air quality, and we hope to generate a whole new source of generating revenue for our urban forests. So I'll keep it quick at that and let Jad take over.
Am I next up? Yes.
Okay, before I bring you up, thank you for keeping that quick. I know all of you know that growing an urban forest is not about one government agency or one organization or a group of volunteers. It takes a commitment from all of us. Like they say, it takes a village. It takes all of us. And just for tree planting today, we had a lot of great partners. I will start with the Public Works Department, the Bureau of Urban Forestry, for taking the lead. We have from the Department of Environment, Commissioner Mike Sullivan, Director Debbie Raphael, and all her staff for helping out. Please give them a hand. Have our large non-profit partner, Doug, and the Friends of the Urban Forest. Thank you very much for coming out. We have City Forest Credits, who you heard from. We have California Relief, and we have California Urban Forest. We also had many volunteers from the neighborhood, and Simon and the Tenderloin Community Benefit District, thank you all for being a great neighbor. I know you're going to help look after those trees that we planted, so I'm counting on you. And of course, our friends at UC Hastings College of Law, they were also out today in numbers helping out. Let's give them a big hand. Okay, another partner who we're going to hear from is my friend. I'm Mr. Clean SF, and we have Mr. Parks also here. Phil Ginsberg is General Manager of Recon Park, and under his park system, over 4,000 acres, we have over 131,000 trees. Let's hear from Phil Ginsberg. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. We at the Recreation and Park Department are very, very, very proud to be part of the Green Team, captained by our mayor, my favorite tree, captained by our mayor, but with the incredible partnership and help of so many both public and private partners like FUF, and of course, Mohammed's incredible leadership, and Debbie in the Department of Environment's great leadership. It does take a village, as Mohammed noted. As he also noted, we have 131,000 trees in our parkland in San Francisco on 4,000 acres of parkland. These 131,000 trees were planted over 150 years from the very birth of this city's park system. Interesting, we have about 10 trees or so that surround this spot. This used to be, just 30 years ago, this was a parking lot. And now, admittedly, it's a little bit of a fixer-upper, but you come back because we break ground on a beautiful renovation to this site in January with Mohammed's partnership. And we hope to cut a ribbon on a beautiful new space with even more trees here in July of 2019. As everybody noted, and as the benefits calculator, tree benefits calculator will verify, our trees absorb CO2 and other air pollutants, but something not mentioned is they also help us absorb stormwater. Every 100 mature trees absorbs 200,000 gallons of rainwater. Yet another strategy in our fight against climate change. Also not referenced is the incredible biodiversity we have in our canopy. In the Panhandle alone, which is essentially a botanical garden, we have 65 different species of trees. And as important as trees are, it's not the only strategy to fighting climate change. They're just one piece of the puzzle. It includes waste diversion. Your Parks Department diverts 97% and reuses 97% of its green waste. And I'm very proud to say that in 2021, Golden Gate Park will be the largest urban park in the nation, maintained entirely through recycled water. So together, we are all doing our part, and for this neighborhood, there is, under the mayor's leadership, there is so much love and attention and a push like never before to create healthier communities. And in addition to all the trees that were planted, and in addition to this playground renovation, just a few blocks away is Sergeant Macaulay Playground, which undergoes a renovation in January of 19 as well. And we celebrate Bodecker Park and Civic Center. There are elements of health and vibrancy just blossoming in this neighborhood. And the last thing I want to say is it's really important. It's one thing to plant a tree, it's another thing to maintain it. And we need to be so thankful and appreciative of the men and women in Public Works and at Rec and Park and at FUF and all of the volunteers who help us maintain our urban canopy. And representing the Recreation and Park Department are two of our most incredible and devoted gardeners, Steve Sismowski and Katie Poole. Thank you for being on the ground and keeping our planet healthy. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you very much. Okay, also helping sponsor today's tree planting event is the American Forest. American Forest is a nonprofit conservationist organization. And joining us from American Forest today is Judd Daly, the president and the CEO of that organization. Welcome, Judd.
Thank you, and although I come from that strange land called Washington, D.C., where people aren't sure if climate change is real, I can tell you that it is, and that those of you standing over there in the shade are enjoying this surprisingly hot September day here in San Francisco a lot more than the folks who are standing in the blazing sun, which is actually why a lot of folks have headed over under that tent, which is sort of like a fake tree. And so when we think about what do urban forests mean for climate change, we really need to think in two lanes. We need to think about climate action. What are they doing to slow climate change down? And we need to think in terms of climate justice. What do they mean about bringing protection from climate change impacts? Things like extremely hot days, yes, even here in San Francisco, and what they can do to bring shade and other protection to people in these communities. And I'll tell you that even though I'm from far away, I feel this one in my soul locally, because my grandmother, Nan Daly, lived here in the Tenderloin for 30 years, working for the city of San Francisco, and she was a real champion for equity, diversity, and inclusion in this city and the greening of this city. And I know if she were here today, she would think about what we're doing as really the perfect synergy of climate action and climate justice. So I want to give you just a couple of numbers to hold on to, because we've talked about some really local numbers of what can one tree do. I want to roll that up for you. Here's your first number, 7.2%. Urban trees across America reduce energy use for heating and cooling by 7.2%. Now translate that in your head into the carbon emissions that are avoided because we didn't have to use all that energy for heating and cooling our homes. Your next number, 100 million. That's the metric tons of carbon dioxide that are sequestered by urban trees all across America every single year. And by the way, that's about 2% of our carbon emissions. So we're not talking about a rounding error here on climate action. We're talking about carbon mitigation squared, one of the most powerful things that we can do to solve climate change is what we're doing right here. It's bringing more tree canopy cover into our cities and taking better care of that tree canopy cover so it lasts. Now I'm going to give you one more number, and this really speaks to that climate justice issue. The number is 10. There was research done by some folks at Rollins University, the Rollins Institute of Public Health, and they project by the middle of the century, not some fantastical time in the future, the middle of this century, we're going to see a 10-fold increase in heat-related deaths. And guess what? That's not going to be among affluent folks who are living in well-air-conditioned homes in neighborhoods with lots of tree canopy. It's going to be predominantly people in neighborhoods like the Tenderloin. So that's why we need to be here planting these trees for climate action and planting these trees for climate justice. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this is an us thing. This isn't about American forests. It's not about any one of the private partners or any one of the public sector partners that you've heard up here today. This is about all of us pulling the rope together. And we all came together to create this event. We have not yet had a chance to recognize that corporate partners are playing a huge role in funding this work in cities, making up the gap in funding that we need for what the money that we're not getting from the public sector. We have Rich Brown here today from Bank of America, which has been the anchor for our ability at American Forests to partner with organizations like Friends of the Urban Forests and San Francisco Department of the Environment and San Francisco Department of Public Works, and we're doing this same thing all over the country, a national organization helping local organizations to be successful, and that's made possible because of Bank of America's support. We're really grateful for that. And another corporate partner that helped to fund this planting here today is Alliance Data and Epsilon. These are companies that are huge champions for urban forestry across the country, and again, are providing a part of that missing increment of funding that we need to take this work to scale. So it's going to take all of us pulling the rope together to fully deploy urban forests as the climate solution that we need them to be. And we just really thank you all for being here today to lift this issue up, lift this opportunity up, and give it the attention it deserves so we can carry it forward. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jeff, for all the work that you do. So we're coming to the closing of our program. We have two important things left. Dan and Jada will lead you, Dan from Friends of the Urban Forest and the Urban Forest team will lead you around the corner to plant a tree. That they left one for us. Those volunteers did such a good job, but we did ask for one so that we can have one ceremonial planting. And as we know, trees are very close to our hearts, so a ceremonial planting is appropriate. And second, Erica will be available to talk more and show you how the tree calculator works. And this is a new thing that everybody should be able to use it, and we can calculate how much funds we can get to continue to build our tree canopy and continue to improve the streets of San Francisco and our parks, of course. Thank you very much all for coming, and appreciate everyone. Thank you.